Welcome to our ride 1 of the Crazy Rides Market Garden Tour. And on this ride we're going to take you first east and then south of Eindhoven, bringing you into the forest and then into Belgium, where the ground operation, the garden part of Market Garden, truly started. With about 150 kilometers, 93 miles, the ride is not that long, but that will give you plenty of opportunity to enjoy the ride, the scenery and all the stops that we can recommend. So let's go crazy! Bokkenrijders, buck riders, are part of the Dutch and Belgian folklore. They are ghosts or demons that rode through the sky on the back of flying goats. During the 18th century, thieves and other criminals used that idea to frighten the inhabitants of the area they roamed. And they used the name the Bokkenrijders to launch raids in the area covering parts of the Netherlands and Belgium. And that is where this restaurant that we took you to has got its name from, in Den Bokkenrijder. The website of the restaurant is in the local dialect, but it says that sometimes you will have to wait a bit for a waiter to serve you, because they are in the middle of the forest. And sometimes the electric goes, and sometimes, as it is common in Holland, the weather changes and it is that good that all the people come out at the same time. But they say it's better to stand here than to sit at your doctor's office. The last part of the road to get here is a dirt track, and we showed you on the video. But if the weather is good and the roads are dry, it is a very nice place to stop here. During the German occupation of Leopoldsburg, many hundreds of political prisoners from Belgium and abroad were locked up in a camp nearby the city of Leopoldsburg. A lot of them were murdered and buried in the forest near the camp because of their acts of resistance. At the same time, thousands of German soldiers from the Wehrmacht, Waffen-SS and even sailors received their training in the same camp, making it the largest army camp in Belgium. The massive presence of German troops here in Leopoldsburg was the reason why the Allied forces carried out devastating bombings on and around Leopoldsburg in May 1944. In September 1944, the liberation of Western Europe slowed down because of the fleeing German soldiers regrouping here in Leopoldsburg. And therefore, once again, Leopoldsburg got caught in the eye of the storm again. The fierce fighting in this area convinced the Allied forces that another approach was needed, and therefore Operation Market Garden was born. And the ground operation, Garden, was started here in Leopoldsburg. In this former offices building here in Leopoldsburg, which is now being renovated, a new museum will be built, Liberation Garden. We haven't been able to go, but because it's so close to our home, we will come back to visit. The website is very promising, and although in Dutch, we will share the link. Right next to Liberation Garden, you will find two war cemeteries. This Commonwealth War Cemetery and the Belgian War Cemetery, and you can visit both. But if it's time for you on your ride for a drink or some food, go back into Leopoldsburg because you will find plenty of bars and restaurants. From here, we will not actually take the corridor that the Allied forces made because, as you can understand, they did choose a rather straight way. But our last stop of this ride is right at the corridor. But first, let's enjoy the ride there. As I said, our last stop of this ride is right at the road that the Allied forces took for the liberation of the Netherlands, going straight into Eindhoven. This is the pancake restaurant Familie Suikerbuik, with a liberation memorial just in front of the restaurant. And that is where the British liberators set foot on Dutch territory for the first time.
Welkom, welcome, willkommen. Press once for English. Drücken Sie
On September the 11th, 1944, the Allies sent reconnaissance units ahead to see if the bridge over the Dommel, a little further on, was still intact. It was important to know whether tanks would be able to cross it. The 4 scouts raced in their 2 Daimler reconnaissance vehicles along this road. At full speed, they passed German troops, who were so amazed they had no time to react. The British stopped at this cafe, which was then called the Rustort Cafe. Then a scout vehicle dared to venture a little further to reconnoitre the bridge. Seated in the vehicle, Corporal Brooke saw a German Panther tank stopped right on the bridge. The corporal therefore knew the bridge was strong enough and drove back to the cafe. He told his lieutenant what he had seen. The lieutenant passed on the good news by radio and ordered his men to return to the troops in Belgium.
Well, the information pool at the memorial told you everything that I want to tell and more. So if you're here, you can listen to the whole story. Your GPX file will bring you right back into Eindhoven, but we will end the video here. Are you excited to go on your Crazy Rides Market Garden tour yet? Well, I hope you are. And if you are enjoying these rides, let us know. And if you are sharing photos on social media, do not forget to tag us or use the hashtag CrazyRides. And we hope to see you on another Crazy Ride. Bye bye! If you like this video, please hit that like button. It will help us with the channel. And if you don't want to miss our future videos on Crazy Rides, consider subscribing to the channel. Of course, we also have a second ride in this market garden tour. So if you want to keep going crazy now, watch the video on that ride in the middle of your screen.